The knockout stage of the 2023 World Lacrosse Men's Championship. The 4th seed, Australia, against the 13th seed, the Netherlands. Hi everybody, Cooper Perkins and Nick Ocello with you from the campus of San Diego State University in sunny Southern California. This is going to be a physical matchup.
Eye out for all game long.
You have had a peek at each goaltender. For the Netherlands, they will start with Thomas Heidsma. And for Australia, Sean Aaron gets his 3rd start, having been excellent for the guys in green. At the face-off X, Tim Graham gets ready. Or they'll have Lachlan Russell, take the face-off against Wieland Mushkins. And Australia wearing the green, the Netherlands in the orange. And we are underway. The winner of this game moves on to play England. And the Aussies have the first possession as Lucas Parsons-Quintio comes out of the scrum of the ball. Starting attack for Australia. Connor McDonough, Lachlan Walker, and Cal Gibson. Jeff Millsop thought about uncorking a shot, but the long stick instead will move the ball around and go sub off. McDonough driving towards goal line extended. Back up above the cage and scores. Oh, it's outside the net. Just about everybody but the goaltender Heidsma thought that was in the back of the cage, and the Netherlands has their first stop. They'll try to clear.
It's interesting to watch Australia in general because one of the things that I would say they tend to avoid is that structured 6-on-6 possession. So look for them to try and manufacture opportunities. They did so quickly, but sometimes that can come back to bite you. And if Netherlands gets a nice long possession, they're going to start off the game losing the faceoff but taking advantage of the time of possession game.
The two big offensive creators will have to wait as Brady Vibrance puts the Netherlands on the board first.
The Netherlands faithful coming alive here as they get the first goal. Really good job right here. And speaking of taking the opportunities when presented, really good job by Vibrance to go underneath, catching the Australian defense a little bit by surprise. That center of the Australian defense, always such a dangerous area. They are physical, but they weren't prepared to be physical in that situation.
Now he is their only Division I level player domestic in the U.S., having played collegiately at St. Bonaventure. A violation on the Netherlands gives Australia the ball. And the Aussies coming off a loss yesterday to the Haudenosaunee, trying to rebound. Losers of 3 in a row after winning their opener against England. Playing in that tough Pool A. They get a look. Parsons-Quintio. Gibson's shot rings the post. Beat the keeper Heidsma, but does not get the lucky fall.
That ball's still moving. That was an absolute rocket.
A missile from Cal Gibson, who has been one of their better shooters. Australia trying to get their offense going in this opening round game. They think they've made some strides, but they want to take care of the ball a little bit better and would like to get out and run. You know, Australian lacrosse is not super heavy in 6-on-6. They like to play in transition. The Dutch have done a good job of preventing that to this point. Isaac Cahill trots it to the back low corner. Gets the short stick assignment. Cahill stripped. Gibson gooses it over to Braden Pantine as the Australians settle it down, trailing 1-0. Gibson steps in, off a hesitation and a fake. Around to McDonough, spin cycle. Pantine playing a 2-man game with Matt Wood. And a stop for Heidsma. Lockie Walker forcing the middle, trying to get it into Cahill, who is their leading goal scorer with just 4. Australia did not score more than 8 in any of their 4 pool games. Gibson kicked away, Heidsma.
Huge start for the Netherlands right here. Not only are they getting the saves, but it's the defensive organization that's impressed me the most. They're not late on the slides. They're playing really well through that two-man game. And this is the playbook that you need to run if you're a fan of the men in orange. Off to a great start here.
Australia takes a timeout as the first 4 minutes of this game have not at all gone the way that they were expecting. We talked to the Dutch coaching staff before the game. The Netherlands is coming out into this game trying to bring it to Australia. Their size and physicality are their two biggest strong points, and they want to play to those pieces today.
I mean, even walking by the team as they're going through their warm-ups, you know, rarely am I looking up at about half the team, but I think they mentioned they have 4 players that are 6'5" or taller and a lot of thick players as well. And again, we're seeing that in 2 different areas of the field. The first is going to be offense, where they had the quick, shifty player get a goal, but it's the defense that's impressed me the most here for the Netherlands to start. And don't forget about Heidsma standing on his head as we see him make a beauty of a kick save. And for Australia, they need to settle in. We know they don't like to play that 6-on-6 consistently, but that doesn't mean that you can just take one dodge and try and get a shot off. Slow it down and let the 3rd, 4th, maybe even 5th dodge come into play.
The Netherlands scored on their opening possession. Brady Vibrance on a dodge at goal line extended beat Sean Aaron. The early story, Thomas Heidsma, the starting goaltender for the Netherlands who wear orange today, came in with a 45.5% save percentage in the tournament. He and Ernie Alberts split time no matter what. It will always be Heidsma in the first half and Alberts in the second half. But so far, the keeper for the Netherlands, Heidsma, has been the star of the show. Australia trying to settle in their first trip to San Diego State. They've been sequestered at USD, where Torero Stadium is, about 15 minutes down the road. 2 campuses separated by about 10 miles. Braden Panting. Now Matt Wood drifts out, moves the ball ahead. They swing it around the perimeter. Cal Gibson to dodge from X. Gibson feeding up top, and the pass mishandled by Panting as the Netherlands goose it forward. And a 3-on-1 comes up in orange. Vibrance.
Boy, great team effort by the Netherlands right there. Not only selling out to keep the ball on the ground, but when that was outside of the box by about 15 yards, 3 men in orange, 1 in green. They are going to get that every single time. And momentum is all Netherlands right now.
The crowd is about split even here at the San Diego State University Sports Tech. A lot of green, but also a lot of orange. Here's Brady Vibrance. Scored the game's lone goal in his first Men's World Championship tournament. The Netherlands around the perimeter. First touch for Jelle Erik de Vries. Number 16, Aldrich van der Heide, and number 34, Jake Bouwman, are the 2 primary initiators for this Netherlands team. Right now it's de Vries, defended by Thomas Graham, who's done a great job as a 2-way midi for Australia in this tournament. Shadowing de Vries, floating around the perimeter and trotting it to X, where he moves it for van der Heide. Aldrich van der Heide played collegiately in the U.S. at Middlebury in Division III. He's a local kid. Grew up in San Diego, went to Torrey Pines High School. Van der Heide gets top side. Backhand flip. Kick save, Aaron. Backhand, Aaron's there again.
I got to say, 2 really good looks from Netherlands on their first 2 possessions. They're really doing a good job of leveraging the quickness. We thought they were going to use the size, but turns out it's those sneaky underneath. And again, the thing that's most surprising to me is their ability to get to the middle of the field and even those dangerous right near the crease areas and not be punished for it, which is rare for this Australian defense that I would say has been bruising and one of the most physical defenses all tournament. So interesting dynamic change where the quick, shifty Netherlands taking advantage of the more tentative Australian team here today.
The Australians are trying to sort out their offense. They'd like to take a step there today, as this is a knockout stage game. Big shot, score! Matt Houston tickles the twine. We're tied at 1.
One thing the Netherlands defense has done so good is play to their individual matchups, but in this case it comes back to bite them as the focus on the initial and individual matchups allowed for a big skip lane right through the middle of the field, and Australia ties it up 1-1. Netherlands come out swinging, but a step down rip ties it up.
Australia ties the game 1-1 midway through the first quarter. And Jackson Stock wins a clean faceoff. They'll start on offense. Last possession for Australia, better spacing.
Much better spacing. That was the problem for their possessions that didn't work out, is they came down, they dodged hard, they were doing everything right, but they tried to initiate so quickly that oftentimes they were dodging into their own players. And while it was good structure and communication from the men in orange, it bit them in the rear end for the men in green.
Campbell McKinnon came flying in as the late man on. McKinnon, Matt Fuss, Houston, Gibson, McDonough, and Walker. Yeah, it's Walker behind the cage. Now back around the perimeter, Fuss over to McKinnon. Now McDonough squares up to dodge on the short stick. Off a split dodge. McDonough, Heitzma, another save. His third of the first quarter.
Been very impressed with his play so far today. Heitzma standing tall and playing the angles really well. He hasn't found himself out of position, and that's not due to a lack of ball movement, because Australia has not only initiated from a number of different areas, but they've tried to throw those skip passes as well. So to track that is no easy task, but he's making it look easy here today.
The Netherlands offense has already produced as much scoring as they did all first half yesterday. Bauman scores! The upset-minded Netherlands take a 2-1 lead.
Shocking that Netherlands is consistently getting to the middle of the field, and we see the contact be just a little bit late as Bauman, again, Netherlands doing an incredible job of getting underneath their defensemen, and then as they take every step forward towards the middle of the field, they have more and more goals to shoot. And the Netherlands taking it to Australia, which is exactly what they set out to do today.
It took them 29 minutes to score their first goal against Latvia yesterday. That game turned into a good old-fashioned defensive rock fight with a 4-1 final score. Already, the Netherlands wearing orange has put 2 in and has an early lead on Australia out of Pool A, the 4th-ranked team in this field of 14.
And what's interesting about the way this Australian team is structured is they want to run and gun and push transition, which is a great way to stage a comeback and to separate yourself from your opponent. But if it's not working, you might have those short possessions where you try to capitalize on an unsettled opportunity, and then it could be 2-3 minutes in between the next chance.
Australia in the green, settling into their 6-on-6, as we've yet to see them really get a transition opportunity. Braden Pantine wheels back around, a skip pass, step down. Matt Wood stings the high corner. The bouncer goes for Matt Wood. We're tied again. It's 2 up.
The 2 goals for Australia have been off of great skip passes, as we saw Painting find that skip lane. And again, Netherlands doing a good job in the individual matchups, but they're not minding those skip lanes. And when you give him time, room, and space, those high bouncers are going to go in every single time. So this Australian offense, known for initiating, known for trying to be physical, really doing a good job distributing the ball as they get their 2nd goal of the day.
3rd of the tournament for Matt Wood. Illegal procedure against the Netherlands will award ball to Australia. Early action here in the first round of the knockout stage. England sitting back and watching to find out who they'll play, either a rematch with Australia or a potential Cinderella story in the 13-seed Netherlands, who needed to beat Latvia yesterday to finish second in Pool F. McKinnon. Now McDonough. Houston has one of the 2 goals so far for Australia, thinking about a shot. Instead moves it to McKinnon. They swing the ball quickly. Lachlan Russell defended tightly by Aarons. Lockie directing traffic. Defers to Matt Fuss. Step down. Houston! We've got a problem. It's 3-2.
A third skip pass through the heart of the Netherlands defense and a third goal for Australia. Houston does a great job hunting that backspace. You can see him putting his stick up saying, I'm open, I'm open. Great job by Matt Fuss to dodge with his head up. And the more Australia can dodge with their head up, the more of those skip lanes they're going to find. Netherlands needs to not ball watch so much and be mindful of those skip lanes, as they are otherwise perfect, but you've given up 3.
Houston, who broke his arm at Loyola this past spring, has now doubled his scoring total through the first 4 games of the tournament. Put in a pair against England, then was held scoreless 3 straight games, and has 2 in the first quarter against the Netherlands. Parsons Quintio was the cutter, collected by Connor McDonough. One of the 3 players they call the Jitterbugs, him, Cal Gibson, and Isaac Cahill.
This could be really good for Australia. They're not used to playing this type of game where they have to settle in and play 6-on-6. So,
Braden Pantine, another skip pass. Russell with a rocket, and Australia starting to settle in.
You see the Netherlands defense come together quickly after giving up yet another skip pass through the middle. But again, stop me if you've heard this, it is consistently Australians dodging with their head up, that time painting, and then on the backside, the open shot. And Netherlands now has the massive job of trying to make adjustments on the fly as Australia has cracked the code of their defense with just over 1 minute left to play in the first quarter.
And the Netherlands really needs to be careful here. Possession matters. They give it right away off of a violation because they are not built to come back from a deficit, especially against a Pool A team like Australia that's as skilled and athletic as they are.
Now, the playbook for a Netherlands win is nice, long, controlled possession. Try to win some face-offs and slow it down. They're looking to win this game 6-7 maybe, not 15-14.
For Australia, if they get 15 goals, their head coach Glenn Meredith will be grinning ear to ear. Not to say he isn't usually. He's a smiley guy, one of the most friendly people around the village here at the World Championships. McKinnon twisted it wide of the cage. Long rebound as Gibson goes to track it down. Final 15 seconds of the first. One last look. Thomas Graham, skip pass for Russell. He's got to go. Feeding. Houston's shot hums high. And with 7.5 seconds left, the Netherlands gets the ball back. If they just take care of the ball, they'll go to the end of the first down by 2. And that is exactly how the opening 15 come to a close. A slow start for Australia, but they end on a 3-0 run. Matt Houston with 2 first quarter goals, but it's Matt Wood who really gets it going. Second quarter coming up shortly. You're watching the 2023 World Lacrosse Men's Championship.
Get Gilman goals and make it ping when you play lacrosse. Ugio, a leader in innovation and world-class travel gear, is a proud partner of the 2023 World Lacrosse Men's.
Australia scored four goals per game in pool play, and they've already put in 4 after 15 minutes here at the San Diego State University Sports Deck. And the story, their 6-on-6 play.
Surprising, really. And talking to the Australian coaching staff and seeing how they play in general, they love to run and gun, and I would say they even try to avoid 6-on-6 in some situations, but this is great practice. You don't want to call games like this practice, but for them to get consistent 6-on-6 looks, it's reps for dodging with your head up, looking for the backside, for those backside players hunting those skip lanes, and that is just going to snowball and snowball into a more dangerous Australian offense.
They've also dominated at the face-off X thanks to Jackson Stock, and as a result have been able to stack possessions on top of each other. The Netherlands did lead this game, first 1-0 and then 2-1. Braden Panting, split dodge, feeding the middle for McDonough. Just missed connecting on the pass, and now Finn Ahrens tries to clear for the Netherlands.
And that's something that Australia needs to execute on more consistently. Talking with their coaching staff, they said that when you play that run and gun style, especially domestically in Australia, the mistakes don't really hurt that much. But in a situation like that, you have an open guy on the crease, it bounces off of his stick, and it's a turnover. Those mistakes are amplified.
And Thomas Heitzma is called offsides. An empty net and a golden opportunity for Australia if they hustle. Cahill cutting, Heitzma smothering and making the save.
And showing off his athleticism in the meantime. He was shot out of a cannon back into his cage, showing a little bit of that breakaway speed that I didn't know he had in him.
Thomas Heitzma, 4 first-half saves, and all 4 of them have been tough. But it's Australia right now on a 3-0 run, thanks to consecutive goals by Matt Wood, Matt Houston, and Lucky Russell. But the clear fails, something the Netherlands had done really well on coming in, 86.5%. But Australia's ride a different level of aggressive than they've seen. Shot saved by Heitzma, and it's corralled by Vibrance for the Netherlands. He is their one-man automatic clear.
And even though it's against their DNA, that quick shot by Australia trying to take advantage of an unsettled situation, a bit ill-advised.
Mirman handles up top in his first world championship on the senior level, but played way back in 2012 with the U20 team in Finland. Aldrich von der Heide, always a dangerous dodger. Hard dodge, von der Heide, Aaron the save. Chris Moffitt, the defender, was giving nothing for Australia and gets on the hands of von der Heide at the last moment. Now Vibrance feeding the cutter, and the Dutch score again. It's Casper Bovey, 4-3.
I'm not quite sure what Australia was doing here as they looked to double behind the net in a 6-on-6 situation. So you're going to see 2 Australian defensemen go out behind the cage for seemingly no reason, leaving a 4-on-5 on the backside. That is a extremely difficult ask for the 4 backside defensemen. So a bit of a question mark for me as to why were they trying to double. Were they trying to find a matchup? Were they looking to exert pressure? Ultimately, doesn't matter because Netherlands decides to take advantage of it with a well-timed cut.
And another illegal procedure on the Netherlands. We've seen that 3 or 4 times already in this game as the Australians do have a clear advantage at the face-off X, and that seems to be factoring into the mental game for Wieland Mushkins, the face-off man for the Netherlands.
And that's why I want to see Australia settle in and try and get some longer 6-on-6 possessions. Again, we've already talked about how they're a run-and-gun team, but you're winning the face-offs. Get some long offensive possessions and wear down your opponent.
McKinnon probes his way down the alley ever so slowly. Now behind the net, McDonough, shifty and quick. Plants, McDonough, the goal line extended. Turnaround, hums it high and wide. Australia closest as it exits. Remember in field lacrosse, on a shot, whoever is closest where and when the ball goes out of bounds is awarded possession. Matt Houston, 2 of the 4 Australia goals so far. Split dodges, feeds the middle, and McDonough steered away by Vibrance. Heitzma, I should say. Thomas Heitzma, his 5th save of the first half.
Another successful skip pass. I want to see the Netherlands establish who is the slide guy and then have the backside defenseman not worry about what's happening on the ball. It's bitten them 4 times here today.
Mitch Baker, still looking to score his first goal of the tournament, has been an excellent passer for Australia. Cal Gibson with space. Gibson scores! A classic alley dodge for Cal Gibson. Australia back up by 2.
A little bit of confusion from the Netherlands right here. Can't decide who the slide man is, but credit to Australia. Just before that dodge was going down the alley, there was a crease attackman that cleared off to the backside, taking the Netherlands defenseman with him, which created that space. We talked about how they were dodging into each other earlier. They make the adjustment, show how coachable they are, clear out space for the Dodger, and ultimately that is an easy alley shot.
4 of the last 5 goals scored by Australia, again awarded possession. Our officiating crew today: Michael Drake, Yusuke Kondo, Nate Morrow, Matt Radenbaugh, and Kazuhiko Inagaki. Australia, the 4 seed in the knockout round. The Netherlands, the 13. Winner of this game will play England, who beat Puerto Rico in the 5v12 in overtime just before this game on this same surface. On the near side, Graham. Chased around by Vibrance. Now Gibson up top. Swings it around. Matt Wood, left-hand dodge. The pole switches on to him. Finn Aaron, the LSM. Now panting with a head of steam. The slide comes, and Graham buries it.
And this is a great example of toying with the slide a little bit. You saw the Netherlands defenseman go out to address the ball carrier, but what does the ball carrier do? Roll back with his eyes up, which Australia has done so well here today as they take the 3-goal lead.
Australia with 5 out of the last 6 goals. An exclamation point by Thomas Graham.
That goal by Australia scored by number 6, Thomas Graham. Give the assist, number 5, Braden Banton. 7:52 mark.
Rady Children's Hospital, presenting sponsor of the 2023 World Lacrosse Men's Championship, the largest children's hospital on the West Coast, ranked among the 10 best children's hospitals in the nation. Australia on a 5-1 run, and the Netherlands being reminded that there are 2 parts to defense, the on-ball variety and the off-ball variety, and it's the off-ball that's causing them problems right now.
Been very impressed with their on-ball capabilities, not only playing good one-on-one defense, but keeping the Australian Dodgers down the alley.
Mushkins moves the ball. Score! Bauman buries, and the Netherlands are back within 2.
The Bauman ballistic missile. This is nothing other than a great shooting form. Look at how he is prepared to catch the ball and release it very, very quickly. The torque generated from his body. And the Netherlands, opportunistic. Normally they like to slow the game down a little bit, have a little bit of a methodical approach, but do not sleep when they are pushing in transition, especially when you got Bowman ripping goals like that one.
Velan Mushkins gets the assist, now in his 2nd World Championship, picking up his first point of the tournament. And Jake Bauman into double figures with his 10th goal and 2nd of the afternoon. So a fast break goal by the Netherlands pulls them back within a pair. They've trailed in this game by as many as 3.
And all tournament we've seen these types of scores be the make or break situations. If the Netherlands gets one more 1-goal game, they're sticking around. But if Australia can rattle off 2, It's these situations halfway through the second quarter in which we really have seen teams establish themselves and separate from their opponents, or let the opponents keep creeping around and have dreams of an upset.
Australia was the team trying to pull the upset yesterday. They were up tied 6-6 against the Haudenosaunee late in the third quarter. Houston skips it through the middle. Now up top, Baker, back to Houston, who's tallied 2 of the 6 for Australia. Cal Gibson behind the net. Methodical in their ball movement. McDonough back to Houston. He looks to initiate. Reverses field. Spins the ball to Russell, who's scored. McKinnon continues it on behind the net to Mitch Baker. Tough defensive assignment for your own booze. Houston. Pushed aside by Finn Aaron, who comes out with excellent on-ball defense. Australia has to start over.
That's the type of slide that you want to see, and a good recovery as well.
Now Cal Gibson, one of the most dangerous Dodgers on this team. Back behind the net. Once again, Campbell McKinnon. McKinnon turns and rips it high. Australia keeps the ball as Houston backs it up. Australia averaged 4 goals a game in pool play, held to 3 on 2 separate occasions. The feed, Houston to Baker for his first of the tournament.
A crafty finish by Baker right there that might look a little easier than it was. He not only finds that off-ball space, which has impressed me the most from this Australian offense here so far, as Houston feeds it in and he just shoots it over the Netherlands defenseman with a quick flick of the wrist. Doesn't try to place it too well, doesn't try to get fancy, but the split second in and out over the defenseman. Goalie didn't have a chance, and that's exactly what Australia needed.
Mitch Baker's a player we talked about off air before the broadcast as a guy that feels like he's on the edge of breaking out. Hadn't scored until just moments ago. If Australia can get him involved around the crease, it makes this offense all the more dangerous.
They have the weapons. We've seen the weapons here so far on display, and when he gets involved, it just makes it a bigger nightmare matchup where we have to be paying attention to everybody all of the time because they are all lethal threats.
Netherlands led this game 2-1. Australia scored 6 of 8. Gibson stepped down, hums wide. Winner will play England, the number 5 seed in the knockout stage. That quarterfinal is tomorrow. Escaped with a win over the great team from Puerto Rico in overtime just before we faced off here. Gibson over to Graham. Around the perimeter go the Australians. Graham surveys. McDonough thought about a step down. Instead, defers to Graham with the clock at 2.5. Australia's offense coming to life in the first half after a slow start early. The Netherlands did a nice job out of the gate. They're such a big physical team, but Australia's ball movement and quickness have been able to neutralize their size.
We were not seeing possessions like this in the first quarter, the slow, methodical approach. So major credit to Australia for changing their entire game plan for possessions like this one, which are so valuable in wearing down the opposing defense.
Defense hung up, the cut, score, just misses wide. Might have gotten a piece, Heidsma. It was a great look from Lockie Russell feeding behind the net, and the Netherlands will escape and a chance to clear.
I was just going to talk about how that was going to be a good look because that slow, methodical approach that we've been talking about. And one of the things that's really impressed me again with this Australian adjustment is the backside movement. Yes, the ball carrier is dodging with his eyes up, but his teammates know that and want to give him an alley to shoot.
And a timeout called by the Netherlands with 1 minute and 31 seconds left until halftime after they successfully clear. They have a chance, if they'd like to try and hold for the last possession. They have done a pretty good job of being methodical. They've held possession when they've had the ball. They've gotten a few good looks, and as a result, 4 goals on the board. Do they work it through Bauman? Do they try and get it to van der Heide? If you're the Netherlands, how do you kill 90 seconds and still create a good look?
It comes down to how much pressure is Australia going to put out on them coming off of the whistle. If Australia is going to not try and cause a turnover or not try and go and get out on the hands, I would love to see van der Heide initiate from behind and look for Bowman up top. Bowman's shot was an absolute missile, and I was very impressed with his quick release. So if you can find a lane for him up top, I think that's the weapon that you want to be hunting for. And if Australia puts pressure out, look for them to take advantage of the space as we see the eyes and feeding prowess of this Netherlands offense with the good backside cut to boot.
There's the shot from Jake Bauman that you were talking about, coming off a 47-goal season at Frostburg State. He's had a couple of 40-goal campaigns there in the NCAA Division II ranks. The Netherlands are hanging around. They trail by 3, but will have possession out of the timeout and 91 seconds remaining in half number 1. They'll look to Bos Verhaar to take possession and go into their 6-on-6.
Looks like Australia is packing it in, so expect the Netherlands to take their time and really pick those spots on where they want to initiate.
Verhaar, De Vries, van der Heide, Bovie, Bauman, and van der Horst for the Netherlands.
Australia might be in a zone here, giving them a difficult look in the last minute 30.
Here's Jake Bauman. He's scored 2 of the 4 goals for the Netherlands. Defended there by Russell. Swings it up to van der Heide. Has the short stick Walker on him, who has been excellent, drawing exceedingly difficult matchups in Pool A. The cut underneath, and Aaron holds his post, denying Bauman and opening up transition for Lucas Parsons-Quintiao. It's a fast break. Here comes Australia. Parsons-Quintiao hums it wide, and it stays on this end with just under 40 seconds left. Australia calls a timeout to stop the clock and can set up their 6-on-6. The Netherlands created a little opportunity there. Sean Aaron just held his post really well between the pipes, but they did a little something.
They did. I'm not the biggest fan of that look for one reason. That's a look that you can get pretty consistently. The Netherlands have shown that they can get underneath and try and dive towards the front of the goal or get towards the front of the goal as the Australian defense collapses. I would have liked to have seen some more initiation, because as we go back and revisit this dodge right here, with 2 Australian defensemen collapsing, essentially a 1-on-3 with traffic, not only do you take a little off of that shot in preparation to be, hit pretty hard, but a clean save results in reverse transition. So that's why I wanted to step down from up top, is even if that's saved, those midfielders are kind of ready to get back in the hole. So that balance of what look are we getting versus what are we trying to prevent, they got that shot off with about 50 seconds left. I would have liked to see something a little bit better.
The winner of this game will move on to play England tomorrow in the quarterfinals. Australia already has beaten the Lions 8-4 on opening night. They fell behind 3-0 and then ripped off 8 straight goals to stay unbeaten all time against the English. Meanwhile, the Netherlands kind of playing with house money. We talked to their coaching staff before this game, and they were telling us that this is already locked in their highest ranking in the world in more than 10 years. It has been a successful tournament. They finished 22nd back in 2018. They're in the playoffs. They're the 13 seed. They obviously want to win, but they are just happy to have had the success that they did in Pool F.
And a great way to inspire the next generation of players in Netherlands. They initiate a lot of grassroots efforts to grow the game back in Europe. So certainly an inspiring squad here in 2023.
A roster very heavy with individuals that actually do live in the Netherlands. Just like Australia. Matt Houston. One final possession for Australia before halftime. Under 20 seconds. Baker. Aaron comes out on him. Houston feeds the middle. Heitzma got a piece of the shot from McKinnon. Less than 10 seconds. Houston. One last look. Russell! Save it, clip it, and send it to Sports Center. Lucky Russell beats the buzzer. Was he in the crease? Yes, he was. The goal will not count.
Wow, but what an attempt nonetheless off of his back foot. Passes it, look at that, twirling with his back towards the goalie. The low-to-low shovel, as we're going to take another look at it. Just a ridiculous display of manual dexterity. Goes underneath. Goaltender Heitzma was a little slow to get up, so very happy to see him on his feet.
The horn sounds with Australia on top of the Netherlands 7-4. The air taken out of the stadium just a little bit by the goal waved off before the buzzer, but nonetheless, the Sharks with a nice first half effort. Their offense comes to life in the 6-on-6. They are comfortably in front. The Netherlands, though, putting up a fight. Jake Bauman and company aren't ready to go away yet. They'll have plenty to say in the second half. Stick with us for halftime coverage of the knockout round. You're watching the 2023 World Lacrosse Men's Championship. Start of the second half here in sunny Southern California. The opening round of the knockout stage of the 2023 World Lacrosse Men's Championship. Australia on top of the Netherlands by 3. Let's talk about that Netherlands team. They started hot, up 2-1. Their defense was suffocating early in the first, but the wheels fell off the cart a little bit when Australia started feeding the middle and skipping passes. This has been the story. They have not been able to get possession. If the Netherlands are going to get back into this game, what's their defense going to have to do to make the stops necessary?
Well, first things first, credit to them for starting hot. I think that put Australia on notice a little bit, and it's adjusting to the Australian offensive adjustments. So what Australia wanted to do was run and gun. Netherlands shut that down. And now what you need to do is identify where the skip lanes are. Not worry so much about your individual assignment where I'm going to go press out on my men, which leaves those skip lanes open. If I'm the Netherlands coaching staff, I'm saying let's pack it in a little bit tighter. Let's make sure we're sliding effectively. And let's keep an eye out for those skip passes because that has been the bread and butter for Australia here so far.
Despite Thomas Heitzma playing an excellent first half, there is a change between the pipes for the Netherlands. They do it every game. There's the feed for Lockie Walker. Skips through and is backed up by Gibson.
Good start by the Netherlands right there, collapsing on even that first attempt at a skip pass.
Ernie Albert's the new goalie for the Netherlands. He's been very good in this tournament. Panting, moves the ball. He had 3 assists in the first half. Now Cahill zigzags. Panting. Up a head fake. Now floats back to the top, and Australia changes their formation. Matt Wood forcing it up top to Cahill.
Great start for the Netherlands defense right there. Not only identifying those skip lanes, but as soon as Australia gets ready to attempt one, if you can get your stick on the hands of whoever's trying to make that pass, that's going to happen every single time. It's about affecting the quality of the pass. So elite defenses don't worry so much about trying to go throw the hero check, but causing turnovers like we just saw right there. Good adjustment.
This is a matchup that the Netherlands likes. Vibrant's one of their best dodgers against Cahill, stuck back on defense. The feed up top. De Vries scores! The Netherlands takes advantage of Cahill being caught on defense, and the cut from Jelle Erik de Vries pulls them back within 2.
What a start for the Netherlands right here. Not just a good defensive possession, but the offense taking the pressure off a little bit, saying, hey, you give us possessions, we'll be able to convert those. De Vries. Notice that he had a late approach, the Australian defenseman ready to go and get the ball carrier, so one pass away, all of a sudden he has about 8-9 yards on his defenseman, pretends to step in and shoot, face dodge right into a goal. Very well done and a great halftime meeting for the Netherlands.
So DeVries scores on the new netminder, Ryan Spark, who comes on after Sean Aaron played the first half. They view the two as essentially even. Both have played throughout the tournament. Aaron has been slightly ahead of Spark, but they do trust them both equally. So this isn't an indictment on Spark's play in the first half by any stretch, simply a strategy they go to with regularity. So Australia has seen their lead cut to 2. Makes you think a little bit more about the goal that was waved off before halftime. With less than 2 seconds on the clock, Lockie Russell backhanded one into the net but was called in the crease. Russell just had the ball a moment ago before passing to Matt Houston. Houston defended out there by Olaf Van Nielen. Mitch Baker way up out at the top. Knockout stage at the 2023 World Lacrosse Men's Championship, the 4v13 matchup for the right to play England in the quarterfinals. Mitch Baker has trouble handling it. Gets chased out by Graham Rickoff and beats Rickoff down the alley. Feeding McKinnon with space. Sneaks it past the goaltender, Alberts.
I think this is one that Alberts is going to want back, but good job by Australia taking what the Netherlands is giving them. They saw a short stick pressing out far. They used that to, again, draw the attention, and that top center has been open so consistently. So anytime there's a pass back, whoever is on the receiving end of it is ready to shoot. So Netherlands starting off hot, but Australia, every time the Netherlands gets some momentum, Australia is there to answer.
Campbell McKinnon, the 7th different goal scorer for Australia. They're called for the violation this time, and the Netherlands gets a gift of a possession, something they have not been able to rely on today, as the faceoff X has been dominated by Australia. Even without Tim Graham in the mix, which is particularly notable. Vibrance. Defended tightly by Chris Moffitt. Smart move to get the pull on Vibrance, who beat them dodging last time down the field. Van der Heide. Jeff Melsop defends him. He's kind of the guy that keeps the locker room loose, according to Glenn Meredith. He had some other words to call him. All in love, of course. Meredith has been very transparent with us about this being a team that is extremely close and that he feels strongly for each of these players individually. Actually talked to them at their team meeting today, but how much they mean to him, something he's never done before. Bauman dodges underneath, and he's stripped by Lachlan Russell. They'll have to move it around the perimeter. Van der Heide probes his way. The Netherlands trying to pull back within 2.
I'm really impressed with Bauman's game. He is quick and shifty, which is a great asset against the tall, physical Australian defenseman.
Van der Heide drags Parsons Quintio behind the net with him, swims over. Van der Heide, tight little feed into Bauman, and it's collected by Ashby Dennis for Australia.
Right idea, but impossible execution. Normally you want to try and get a little bit of separation before trying to make that pass, so you drew the attention, you had somebody open on the backside, but there was too much pressure on your hands to make that an effective pass.
Graham with a head of steam into the offensive third. Gibson up a hesitation. Gibson backhanding wide. Backed up by McDonough. Australia, losers of 3 in a row after winning their opener against England. Meanwhile, the Netherlands, winners of 3 in a row after losing their opener to Ireland. They finished 2nd in Pool F and are the 13 seed in the knockout stage, while Australia finished 4th in Pool A. That is where they're seated in the knockout stage as well. Now Houston, panting, I should say, his 2nd of the game.
You give these Australian shooters any room. This is the 2nd absolute low-to-high missile as Australia answers the call from a quick start from the Netherlands.
4-point day for Braden Panting as Australia starting to open things up. It's 9-5 midway through the 3rd.
Australia goal at the 7:42 mark. The media at Seals LAX.
The Netherlands forced to play from behind after Australia tacks on their second straight to open up the largest lead of the game. De Vries pulled them within 2 early in the third, but McKinnon and Pantine back-to-back have opened up a 4-goal lead. And this next face-off is particularly huge for Wieland Mushkins and the Netherlands. They need possession here on their heels.
They do, and the script is there. They will have to play a perfect game for the remaining quarter and a half. But if they can scrape together some face-off wins, they're dangerous.
Stock feeding off the face-off win. Russell turned away, a flag behind the play as Jackson Stock draws the foul, and Australia will go to the man up. Our first penalty of the game comes at the 7:22 mark in quarter number 3.
Which is great to see. Credit to the referees for letting the boys play. Stock pushed it forward off the faceoff, took a little bit of contact after it was out of his stick. After he got that pass off, they're going to call that every time.
First look at the man-up offense for Australia. They've gone just 19% on the extra man in the tournament. Mitch Baker switches places with Campbell McKinnon. Houston steps in and hits the post.
Ooh.
Looking for his hat trick goal. Another missile out of the stick of Loyola Maryland educated Matt Houston.
Do it again. I love when he gets ready to shoot. Let's see it.
Instead, forcing it to the backside for Connor McDonough and throwing it away. As the Netherlands, should they clear the ball successfully, has a chance to kill off the remainder of the penalty.
I like that idea from Houston right there. Anytime that you have one of the best outside shots, the entire man-down unit for the Netherlands respected that, which did open up a little bit of a lane, but unfortunately that pass not on the money.
Nice job by Jan-Jaap van Noort to run out of trouble for the Netherlands. Right now it's their goaltender Alberts with possession. Aarons forces his way into Parsons Quintio and wipes out. Flag flies in front of the play, and the Netherlands will have their first man up after Parsons Quintio heads to the penalty box.
I'm surprised it's taken this long in the game to really start seeing the flags fly, and that's not to say that either of those calls were wrong, but anytime you have two athletic, physical teams, things like that are bound to happen where you just get your legs tangled up because you're just banging over and over. So, big chance for the Netherlands here.
First chance to see the Netherlands work things through Bauman, now to Vonderheide. Up to the top, Von Baal. Back to Vonderheide. Von Baal. Back to Bauman, picked off by Spark, and he's out of the cage. Nice active stick by the goaltender Ryan Spark to take that away and get Australia out of the man down.
Impressive IQ. That was a great risk-reward ratio, meaning that was just an easy transfer pass as they go to pick it off. Anytime the goalie goes to do that, if they miss, they can't be out of the cage too far. So smart play.
Back to the play. Howard! The Mercer Island boy makes it double figures for Australia. And now the Sharks starting to bite a little harder.
Just good IQ and spacing, taking advantage of the unsettled situation. It is Australia consistently finding the space that the Netherlands are neglecting, and that time, the time and room where we've seen a couple low to highs, the low to low fakes out everybody, and the Australian faithful coming alive a little bit. I can hear the rumbling in the crowd.
They travel as well as any fan base. A handful really stand out. Australia has had great fan support. Mexico, Japan.
The Netherlands is actually pretty impressive.
Obviously the Haudenosaunee, the U.S., Canada. Another face-off win for Stock as Australia can control possession and start to munch a little bit of this clock with 3.5 left in the third. Winner of this game plays England in the quarterfinals. For Australia, that would be a rematch of their opening 8-4 win against the Lions. The Netherlands now looking up at a mountain to climb. Down 5 goals. Australia doubling them up. Cahill.
Uh-oh.
Fuss hums it wide.
Again, it's these little mistakes. Australia mentioned it before the game, but certainly applicable to the Netherlands. Anytime you're playing in Australia or in the Netherlands, sometimes those mistakes don't have an impact. But here at the World Championships, every mistake is taken advantage of. The level of play is so high.
Wood shot kicks off the mask of Alberts. That was a nice job behind the net by Timon Bloom to recover on the dodge by McDonough. The ball awarded to the Netherlands with 2:31 left in the third quarter. Both of these two national programs rely on the club circuit in their respective countries to develop players. We learned before the game in the Netherlands there are no school-sponsored athletic programs, not lacrosse or anything for that matter. So if you want to be a good athlete, you got to go outside of school to do it. There goes Braden Pantine, having a 4-point day, racing into the offensive end and putting the brakes on.
And that's a big difference between these two teams, is looking how comfortable these Australian defensemen are on the clear versus these Netherlands defensemen. Sometimes they get a little caught up, goose it to the middle, which you have to avoid.
Thomas Graham floats a teardrop pass to Braden Pantine. He draws the short stick, Rickoff. Now to Cahill. Cahill hesitates, gets a screen from McKinnon, now drifts backwards, spins it up top to Graham. He continues forward for Gibson. Gibson to Pantine. The freight train, as they call him. Learned that from good friend of the broadcast, Anthony Brown. Broadcaster back in Australia. Appreciate his expertise on the Sharks. The look in for McDonough.
Something the Netherlands done that has really impressed me is manage the two-man game. Australia's setting picks in very dangerous areas of the field, right around goal line extended, but the Netherlands' communication and switches have been crisp all game.
Vibrance, the shorty, inverted on Cahill. Physical, strong. Now defers to McDonough. Races topside, scores! Connor McDonough. And Australia starting to pull away.
McDonough just too quick, and the Netherlands packed it in tight a little bit. So this jab step was lateral movement, which in general you're okay with, but you can't be okay if the lateral movement still has you in deadly shooting range. So anytime you're trying to pack it in tighter, you need to play a little bit more aggressive, try and get on the hands, because that jab step hits to the middle of the field when you think you have space and realize that you're only about 12 yards away from the cage. That's an easy one for McDonough, who has the range to execute.
4 straight Australia goals for the number 4 seed in the knockout stage. Stock has dominated at the X, and the Sharks get right back to possession. The pull! Josh Harris streaking in for Australia, and everybody's getting in on the act.
A moment ago, I talked about how the Australian Poles are comfortable with pressure, but Harris showing us that they are comfortable with much more. That is not an easy pass and catch as he's sprinting down the middle of the field. Not only is he led perfectly, but to have the body control to catch, get a shot off while running at full speed, made it look easy, but I assure you it is anything but. Very impressive stuff from Harris.
That is the Australia that Glenn Meredith wants to see more of. Aggressive in transition with skill and the ability to score. They're not wasting time again. Howard! It's a 6-0 Shark attack. And Australia up by 8.
They smelled blood in the water. And again, you mentioned it a second ago, but this is the Australia that we know and love. They are so lethal. in those transition scenarios, always looking for the extra pass, always looking for the step down. They won that face-off with only about 20 seconds left, more than enough time. And if you're the Netherlands, that's what you had to prevent, was Australia settling in and going on a big run. And now their task went from monumental to near impossible.
Final seconds of the third. Loose ball push gives the ball to the Netherlands. They'll get one final crack here. They got to hurry. Mushkins. A flag before the whistle.
Australia didn't give the ball carrier enough space coming out of the whistle, so if you don't give 5 yards, you cannot touch the ball carrier. And to start the fourth quarter, it's going to be Netherlands with a man-up opportunity.
But Australia rips off 6 in a row. They're in control, 13-5. The 2023 World Lacrosse Men's Championship, sponsored by Rady Children's Hospital, the largest children's hospital on the West Coast, ranked among the 10 best children's hospitals in the nation. Start of the fourth quarter, and the Netherlands will be a man up, so no face-off per international rules, and they stare up at an 8-goal deficit after the 6-0 run by Australia to end quarter number 3. Behind the net, De Vries has scored once today. Bowman scores! The hat trick! And the Netherlands isn't ready to go away yet.
I am so impressed with his release. Look at this fake pass to give him a little bit of space, and that is as pure a shooting stroke as you are going to see in this tournament. Bowman just has that look to him, putting everything, and the efficiency of the shot. No wasted movement generates so much torque. I could watch him shoot all day long, and I hope that the game plan for the Netherlands as they claw their way out of this is to let him shoot more. Give him the green light.
If there was ever a team that has the chemistry already built to pull off a comeback like this, it's the guys in orange, the Netherlands.
They have such a great time together as flags go flying.
McDonough up to Jackson Stock. Stinging it is Baker.
That's so tough as Vibrance was slow to get up off of that faceoff, so Australia had the inadvertent man up with the flag down. It was a free possession, and again, that's why you see the Netherlands, who've done a really good job with the rotations and with the on-ball play, give a wide open shot as he gets off under his own power, which you love to see, but we're hoping to see him back on the field before the game's over. But what I love about this team catching up with the Netherlands coaching staff, they are having a blast in the living quarters. What was it? They had a barber shop. They had an impromptu DJ set with Team Uganda and FCA.
They've got 3 guys who DJ, like actually DJ on
like
the
have
team.
the setup with the buttons and the
the
twisties and the knobs and everything like that.
They look like they're just messing around, but they're actually doing things. They have a dedicated barber shop. They've taken one of their bathrooms, and it's just for haircuts. Everyone's got the perfect beard. They've got their hair done nicely. They invited us to come get haircuts. They're really just an invitation to me because you don't have anything for them to cut.
They said they could give me like a little razor of like a NE or something like that, so I'd have to grow it out for a little bit. But yeah, the invitation to get a haircut was a little bit lost on me. I felt a little bit excluded. But I love to hear stories like that, having DJ parties, dance parties, especially with Team Uganda. That's what this tournament is all about. You tell me which team is hosting the DJ dance party, and Uganda's going to show up every time. Their energy is infectious.
Second man up for Australia as Brady Vibrance takes the penalty. The Sharks feeding 7 out of the last 8 goals to take control of this game and run away from the Netherlands, who did lead early. It was 2-1, and then this offense came alive, 7-4 at halftime, I should say. And since the break, 7-1 run for Australia. Houston up top. Baker just scored a moment ago. Graham skips it. Baker, high save. Alberts.
That's a good save by Alberts right there. That ball was very well placed, so for him to get up and stop it on the opposite side corner, very impressive, as Netherlands desperately needs a clear.
Hold called on Australia. Gives the ball to the Netherlands with 12:20 left in the fourth quarter. Netherlands wearing the orange, trying to kickstart a comeback, but looking up at a hill. 8-goal lead for Australia. Rico pushed out of bounds and a nice ride by Houston.
Netherlands needed to play a perfect game here today. And it's just little mistakes like that, maybe not even mistakes, but just good plays by Australia that the men in orange seemingly couldn't avoid. Leads to the deficit that they really need to start chipping away at, and a potential opportunity to do just that inbound.
Bas Verhaar collects the ball on the sideline and trots it into the middle. Leaves it off. Meerman. The Netherlands not played a whole lot of 6-on-6 offense in the second half. Their 1 goal coming on the man up. Here in the fourth quarter, they scored early in the third on a fast break. On the outside, it's Meerman. Gets a screen. Meerman with speed. Back behind the net. Hogeveen. They keep moving it around the perimeter. Now Barshingerhorn. And Australia with the takeaway. The Sharks on the move again. Millsap behind the play. Will pedal his way out and find a cutting Parsons Quintio.
The Australian difference. And if they're going to make a deep run in this tournament, I'm going to attribute a lot of that to how comfortable the defensive players are with the ball in their stick. We had 2 defensive players down there playing offense. And most times, anytime a defenseman's running down, you're thinking, oh, great, here comes a shot 15 yards over the cage. So to see them pull up, escape pressure, regain their composure, and feed the cutting attackman, that shows me a more advanced understanding of what you can do and how you can be a threat. And it goes back to their entire DNA of we like to run and gun. And when that's ingrained in your DNA, you become better and better at the decision-making aspect of it.
If you've watched Australia throughout the tournament, you're probably watching us going, wait, this team wants to run and gun. They've been playing 6-on-6 basically the whole time through pool play. They just haven't been able to get out and run. That's their identity. That is the style of lacrosse in Australia. It's on display today against the Netherlands, and this is what you can expect them to try and do tomorrow against England.
We even heard the coaching staff jokingly say that they try to avoid playing 6-on-6 sometimes because they just love to have fun, and nothing more fun in lacrosse than just pushing transition and getting all the boys involved.
Shot trickles wide from Graham. Clock melting. Under 9 minutes to go. Pantin having a great afternoon. Pulls things out. Now it's Baker's turn. Just because they want to run doesn't mean they aren't capable in the 6-on-6, and they've really shown something today in this end of the field. Another great look for Baker, hits the post, and McDonough tracks down the rebound.
And again, as far as what you're putting on film, if you're getting ready to prep for Australia, you have to put a premium on them not being able to score in transition. You have to prevent that. But them settling in has really impressed me, not just individually. Of course, they have the Dodgers, but it's the ball movement, particularly when there's an opening to a dangerous area of the field. They have found that time and time again. Anytime the Netherlands stick were down or they were out of position, there was a ball humming through the middle to a step down, and that's why Australia's had such a good day.
Van Noort cranks a long stick shot wide and will take us to our final media timeout. Australia putting on a second half show. They're in control at the 2023 World Lacrosse Men's Championship. The Netherlands looking up at a 9-goal deficit, but make no mistake about it, this has been the ultimate success of a tournament. They'll finish with their highest ranking in more than 10 years. They just got to figure out what that ranking is going to be when it's all said and done. But for a country that doesn't have school-sponsored athletics and is still growing in the lacrosse world, to make the playoffs at all is a really impressive feat.
It's a testament to just how invested these players are. You don't commit to a Notre Dame or a Duke. You go to school and play in your spare time, and what's really interesting, and we got a little light shed for us, was that they have that club system where you can play, you can find ways to play lacrosse, but there are 2 leagues and you have a relegation system. So if you're not playing up to snuff, watch out, you're going to get sent down to the B League.
Yeah, 2 men's divisions, 3 women's divisions. Van der Heide gets clobbered by a triple team. 4 Australians, he hangs onto the ball and goes down to the turf with a flag behind the play and a man-up opportunity coming for the Netherlands. Van der Heide looked like Austin Stotts there for a moment, hanging onto the ball through a quadruple team.
And what's interesting, that could have been all in good fun, but right at the very end, Van der Heide took a joking shot and hit Spark right in the helmet, much to the chagrin of the Australian defender. So one of the last things that you want to see is even something little like that can upset the Australian defense. It was all in good fun. Nobody was taking cheap shots while he was on the ground. He throws and hits the goalie in the face as we see a replay here. Again, no cheap shots from Australia. In fact, quite good restraint to not go up top or anything like that. And as he continues to get up, about 3 seconds after it cut out right there, I'm a little bit worried about what that might do. Again, you don't want any tempers to fly. The game is all but over. Let's let saner heads prevail.
Offsetting penalties. Each team will play with 5. Shot kicks off the post.
32nd penalty is the call on number 15 for Australia.
Lockie Russell takes the penalty for 30 seconds for Australia. And of course, it is Van der Heide setting the penalty for the Netherlands. Coming up next on this field at 7 o'clock local time, the number 3 versus number 14. 2 of the best stories thus far in the tournament. The Haudenosaunee, who have put scares into both the U.S. and Canada, will take on Hong Kong, China, who pulled off one heck of an effort yesterday, needing to beat Mexico by 6 to punch their ticket. They ended up winning that game by 7 in dramatic fashion. So they are in the playoffs for the first time. A big step forward for Hong Kong, China's program.
And again, that's something that I love about this tournament. You see the time, energy, and effort that every team is investing to grow their game in their respective countries and how it reflects on their respective cultures. Hong Kong, China, such a crisp, clean, efficient, disciplined team. And then here come the Netherlands, with their big physicality. It's just really cool to see this melting pot of cultures here, as watch out, again, we don't need anything to get out of hand here.
2 flags on the play. After 3 quarters that saw 1 total penalty, the flags are now getting dirty. They'll have to be washed after the game as the refs throw their laundry in together.
And again, the thing that you got to do as a coach or as a player is just make sure that saner heads prevail, especially Australia looking forward. Nothing dumb is really what the coaching staff always says in these situations. Play with grace, play with class. Don't do anything stupid, please.
So a 6-on-4 for the Netherlands with under 6 minutes to play, trailing by 9.
Would love to see
fans
Bauman.
come to life. Bauman in number 34. Here he is. Van der Heide is 16, their other initiator. Around the perimeter for the Netherlands. Kept it close to the first half, but things have gotten away from them since halftime. Van Baal bounces it. And now moving once again. Score! Second of the game for Jelle Erik de Vries.
Great placement by de Vries right there. He didn't have much of an angle right as he was shooting. I thought maybe get one more pass off, but credit to him for changing the level of his stick. If he releases from his shoulder, he's not shooting it very much net, but the fact that as he released, the head of his stick was above the head of the goaltender, it created a window of opportunity for him to bury it that he otherwise would not have had. So that change of stick, so important.
And now a flag on the far side. This has to do with the bench, right? There's no way that this could be anything else. It looks like a procedure. Again, our officials today: Michael Drake, Yusuke Kondo, Nate Morrow, Matt Radaba, and Kazuhiko Inagaki. They've been busy in the fourth quarter.
Which again is interesting, you know, a relatively clean game, no harm, no foul for 3 quarters. And now we got bench penalties, we got dirty laundry all over the field as the Netherlands try, and they are representing their country as best they can.
So they wave off the penalty, an inadvertent flag by the official. And we will face things off. You see Glenn Meredith in the middle of your screen, the skipper for Team Australia.
If you get the chance to talk to him, I couldn't recommend a conversation with him enough. We talked to a number of coaches and a handful stand out, but I would put him as my gold medalist for most pleasant conversations I've had with any coach.
Yeah, he's a former Shark in his own right, played back in the 1990 tournament. He's telling me a couple days ago that, you know, once you get one of the green beer jackets, as they call them, you're a Shark for life, and that means the world to these guys. You know, they wore them in the opening ceremonies, their beer jackets, and figure to see them wear them again at some point. But they are in control here, up 15-7, and will move on, barring a calamitous meltdown, to play England, who beat Puerto Rico in overtime. After this game, the Haudenosaunee and Hong Kong, China for the right to play Japan in the quarterfinals. McDonough, screen from Baker, floats away from the defense, resets behind X, and now leaves it for Baker. Clock under 4. Baker plucking his way, feeds the middle. Graham!
As Australia prepares to claim victory, it's interesting to see them put some of these looks on film. One of the things that they haven't done consistently all game is the crafty short passes and finishes just like that. Those skip passes at the backside have been 10, 15 yards. So even a goal like that, though it might be fairly inconsequential in this game, other teams are watching going, oh, well, if we have to stop the 4-yard pass and almost those Canadian box style short pass and finishes, it provides yet another entire dynamic. Again, keeping in mind that they've shown really good depth and a really good ability to hunt the backside skip in this game, which I wouldn't have said have been their strengths all tournament. So a really good job by Australia putting a lot on film and making any preparation for them that much more difficult.
And a timeout called on the field with 2:48 left in regulation. If you hear the fans behind you, they're actively being hyped up by a camera crew that's working around here. If I'm not crazy, I think that's the crew that's following the Haudenosaunee around.
I believe so. I saw a preview, or at least an explanation of what they're doing, and they're doing a documentary on the Haudenosaunee's path, and as they navigate through the 2023 World Lacrosse Championships. Not quite sure anything else about it, but let me assure you of one thing. That is a documentary that I'm popping some popcorn for, sitting down. And I got to say, these two fan bases, they haven't let anything bother them. Netherlands just as loud now as they were before. And the Aussie, 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 oi, oi, oi chants come alive. And both of these fan bases are quickly skyrocketing up my rankings of favorite fan bases.
Top 3 fan bases you've seen in the tournament, go.
Number 1, Mexico. Really loved how they had a young group of children running around heralding the Mexican flag. Number 2, I really like New Zealand's. Actually, I'm going to replace New Zealand with Jamaica, and I'm going to throw Netherlands in the top 3. I'm going to give them the bronze medal. So Mexico, Jamaica, and Netherlands. What about you?
I love the Australian fans. They show up to every game. They bring their inflatable kangaroos. They have their shark hats.
They tried to put the inflatable kangaroo in front of us.
Yeah.
I was like, hey, we're going to need to see the game here. But no harm, no foul.
Yeah, but they've been great. The Netherlands has been fantastic. Saw Mexico as well. Pantene, one more pass. Baker kicks the helmet of Alberts. Hong Kong, China has a small but really passionate group that brings the noise sticks to every game. That'll be fun to see in the late contest against the Haudenosaunee. Get the sense that they're kind of a Cinderella favorite of sorts around the tournament. Figure that'll be a great turnout at 7 o'clock local time. Pantene, back to Baker. Gibson. Graham, wheeling to the middle. Swings it for Pantene. Australia is moving the ball, eating some clock. Into the middle, Cahill hums it high.
Great catch by Cahill right there. He did not have a lot of time to react to the pass. And again, we talked about it earlier, but Australia putting this delicate and short form offense, if you want to call it that, where they're just making these 3-yard passes, catching it and getting a shot off, something they haven't done all game, on film, making preparation a nightmare.
What's the biggest thing you've learned about Australia today?
They are a very complete team. Coming into this, I was like, okay, they kind of push in transition. They can win the draws. And what I've seen has blown me away from the depth of their roster as complete players. Normally every player has a strength or two.
Long shot from Graham. And a flag behind the play comes floating in.
But every midfielder seemingly for Australia can dodge to both hands, can find those skip lanes, can shoot, can navigate in the off ball. So the collective IQ and the collective depths of the stick skills from the men in green have really, really impressed me today.
I think Australia has been lost a little bit in this tournament by being in Pool A. You know, they won their opener against England and lost 3 in a row. They were really competitive against the Haudenosaunee. But we haven't heard a lot talked about them because, frankly, they've only won 1 game. This is a big showcase for them as how they stack up against the rest of the field.
And that's what I've loved about after pool play. You start to get a sense for the teams, 4 teams per pool, or 5 teams per pool, pardon me. And what's really cool about once those games ends, you kind of see how the pools are stacking up against each other.
Yeah, we saw it today with Japan against Germany. Back to the middle, Graham, one more for Australia. A hat trick for Thomas Graham.
Australia goal scorer with 1:02 remaining in quarter number 4. Goal scorer by number 6.
And again, this is just a country that is proud to be representing for everybody back in Australia. You saw that really nice ride where they were able to cause the turnover. Goaltender out of the cage. You're not going to see an easier goal than that here today.
62 seconds left in this one. Stop time the rest of the way. Remember, international rules, running clock until the final 30 seconds of quarters 1 through 3. then a stop clock in the final 2 minutes of the game. Australia controls another draw, something they've done all game long. Made it really difficult for the Netherlands to get out of their own defensive zone. They made some stops early, put some pressure on, led the game 2-1. But Australia just too much firepower and did too good of a job taking care of the ball.
That possession battle, always so important with no shot clock. Ho!
Matt Fuss off the feed from Baker and getting some flash in with their avalanche of goals.
And again, an inconsequential goal shows us just the skill set of everybody on the Australian team as Fuss catches it and immediately brings the head of his stick down low, taking away any chance for the backside defenseman to connect on a check. So he catches it, gets the head of his stick back low, and instead of trying to bring it back up, throws the little shovel pass to the far side. Again, if I'm England watching that, I'm going, uh-oh.
Australia scored 16 goals in pool play. They have 18 this afternoon. A cathartic game for the offense in green. And a timeout by the Netherlands with 23.5 seconds left. Once again, coming up next, the Haudenosaunee and Hong Kong China in the number 3 versus 14 matchup. And that schedule for the Haudenosaunee is going to be a tough gauntlet to run if they're able to make their way into the medal games.
It's been discussed a little bit on Twitter just about how the breaks in the action versus how the repetition lines up game after game, day after day. And not only that, but you look at who the Haudenosaunee have to get through to achieve a gold medal. Although I will say in pool play, they put everybody on notice. They have the game plan. They struck fear, or at least a little bit of a realization into USA and Canada that this year's Haudenosaunee squad is something that you are going to have to bring your all to defeat.
There were some whispers around the lacrosse world that this Haudenosaunee team might not be as good as some of the previous iterations that won bronze.
Wrong.
Some of their elder statesmen had moved on. But I think what has surprised people is how good their back end has been defensively. You know, you look at Jacob Piscino, you look at Heine Thompson, Ron John, what those guys have done, and you can't help but marvel. You know, they held the U.S. to 9, Canada to 8, had every chance to win both of those games. It's a different look for the Haudenosaunee. We know they can score, but right now they're playing great defense.
It's just so tough no matter how good the defense plays. They got to be talked about over highlight reel goals.
One final possession for Shingerhorn. And Australia can run out the clock. Moffat's not done, but McDonough will let it expire, and it is a final. Australia blows it up for 11 in the second half. They beat the Netherlands 18-7 and move on to the quarterfinals. They will have a rematch with England tomorrow. The Sharks put some people on notice. They're not just a tough defensive group. They can score some goals.
And they can score goals in a number of different ways. The thing that impressed me the most, not only the individual shiftiness that we see right there, but how well they moved the ball to give them space for their open shooters. The cage being lit up by step downs. And then again, the defenders staying down and getting goals. The craftiness on the inside. They put it together.
One final time from the San Diego State University Sports Tech, alongside Nick Ocello and our fantastic production crew. I'm Cooper Perkins saying thanks for watching. Hope you'll tune in to the Nightcap, the Haudenosaunee and Hong Kong China, coming up next on ESPN+.